sauce?
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I got the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
Human nature is a master at making a big mess. Thankfully, nature is powerful enough to save us from ourselves. 7th generation Safer Choice certified dish formula helps remove stuck-on food with one unstoppable pack. That's the power of 7th generation.
I work at Sun Common, and we are here today in Worcester on the north branch of the Winooski River, and we are planting 1,122 trees today.
The pandemic has left us spending less time together, and so this is really a good opportunity to connect with old colleagues and meet new people as well. And one of the reasons we're planting trees is because it does sequester carbon. It is about climate action, and so this is just another way that we get to do that work.
Trees are really important wildlife habitat in river areas. So this is what we call a riparian forest buffer is what we're creating today. In addition to all the wildlife habitats, this is a really good water quality project to slow down water and let some sediment drop out before it gets to the river. I know that planting this one tree might not do a lot, but when all of us work together, we just planted a whole forest, basically. It's really cool.
This is the first adaptive friendly trail network that's being built from design to execution. Sun Common volunteers are here tonight, as well as some new volunteers from all around.
If you make a trail that rides well for an adaptive bike, it's going to ride well for two-wheeled bikes as well.
My name is Greg Durso, and I'm riding the Reactive Adaptations Hammerhead. There's a lot of common misconceptions when it comes to what adaptive or accessible trails are. For us though, when we say accessible, it just means enough room for our bikes to get down it. So we don't want our trails dumbed down, we just want them just a little bit wider, a little bit more attainable for us to use. I'm paralyzed, I'm a T4 paraplegic, so I can't walk. So this bike enables me to get out there and start riding. When I get out of my wheelchair and I get into my bike, I kind of feel like Superman, and I love that feeling. It gets me into places that I can never get into that my wheelchair can't take me.
Sun Common has been an amazing partner in this project. We already surpassed the point that we thought we would reach by the end of the season, and a lot of that's just thanks to Sun Common.
It takes a community, it takes a lot of people to be out there, and you're really doing good for everyone. You're sustaining these trails, making new trails, making mountain biking more accessible for everybody.
The goal here is net zero, so all of the energy consumed here I want to come from the roof, and I chose Sun Common very specifically. This is just a smarter way to buy energy. All my yard equipment is electric and battery operated. I mean, every morning when I come out now, I look back and I go, yep, that sunlight is falling from the sky and that energy is being put into that car as we speak, which, I don't know, doesn't get much cooler. Riding on sunshine.
The beauty of grass is that you have to look at it as every blade of grass being a solar panel. And that grass is absorbing sun's energy the entire time there's sun out.
Being a small farm, we don't have the scale of cash flows that a lot of larger farms have. So for us to be able to stay in business, it's important that we're able to utilize every one of our spaces as efficiently and as profitably as we can. Our rooftops were something that really hadn't served us any purpose, but now that they can actually produce the amount of electricity that we need to run the farm, that's just, it was a no-brainer. Dairy is something that I can firmly stand behind. I believe that it is very nutritious, very good for you, and done right, I believe that it's also good for the environment.
I think we're at the point now that it'd be crazy not to have solar. When we decided that we were going to use a commercial company instead of doing it ourselves, which was an option, I did research on Suncommon, because I don't know that I trust lots of solar power companies. And you know, it's a big project. There's so many things that can go wrong. I wanted a company that I felt good about.
We're filming.
We understand what local issues are.
Other credit unions might offer like the VHFA and the Champlain Housing Trust, but it's cool that we have our own product.
It's called home ownership made easier. It essentially gets somebody into a house who does not have a down payment. There's a lot of lenders who are not willing to take a look at the type of transactions that are going in there. But the fact is Vermonters live in those communities.
Every second, Vermonters spend $20 with Amazon. That's $20 going to someone you don't know and will never meet. You are just an order number to Amazon. $20 every second. That means every minute, Vermonters are spending $1,100 with Amazon. You might as well throw it in the trash. It's time to change. Let's keep this $1,100 in our Vermont economy. Mighty is an online shopping platform that keeps money in the local community. You order things, it comes from independent retailers nearby, it's dropped to your doorstep. Together, we can change online shopping for good. Visit Mighty, MYTI.com to get started.
You can make progress by doing the things you love.
If you can farm, fight food deserts. If you can surf, surf for racial justice. Like to read? Start a banned book club. Protest with an ice cream cone, or project new meaning on an outdated statue. Get in a costume, but try not to get arrested. You have the tools for doing good, and the greatest tool is your own unique flavor. Ben & Jerry's.
Make some mother chunkin' change.
Human nature's ability to contain itself is questionable. Thankfully, Nature is powerful enough to save us from ourselves. 7th Generation's bio-based detergent goes deep to help break apart and wash away tough stains. That's the power of 7th Generation.
The sauce.
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
Okay, 7:30 kickoff. I'll update the clock. Huh? Yeah.
the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I got the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
Human nature is a master at making a big mess. Thankfully, nature is powerful enough to save us from ourselves. 7th generation Safer Choice certified dish formula helps remove stuck-on food with one unstoppable pack. That's the power of 7th generation.
Marlena. I work at Sun Common, and we are here today in Worcester on the north branch of the Winooski River, and we are planting 1,122 trees today.
The pandemic has left us spending less time together, and so this is really a good opportunity to connect with old colleagues and meet new people as well. And one of the reasons we're planting trees is because it does sequester carbon. It is about climate action, and so this is just another way that we get to do that work.
Trees are really important wildlife habitat in river areas. So this is what we call a riparian forest buffer is what we're creating today. In addition to all the wildlife habitats, this is a really good water quality project to slow down water and let some sediment drop out before it gets to the river. I know that planting this one tree might not do a lot, but when all of us work together, we just planted a whole forest, basically. It's really cool.
This is the first adaptive friendly trail network that's being built from design to execution. Sun Common volunteers are here tonight, as well as some new volunteers from all around.
If you make a trail that rides well for an adaptive bike, it's going to ride well for two-wheeled bikes as well.
My name is Greg Durso, and I'm riding the Reactive Adaptations Hammerhead. There's a lot of common misconceptions when it comes to what adaptive or accessible trails are. For us though, when we say accessible, it just means enough room for our bikes to get down it. So we don't want our trails dumbed down, we just want them just a little bit wider, a little bit more attainable for us to use. I'm paralyzed, I'm a T4 paraplegic, so I can't walk. So this bike enables me to get out there and start riding. When I get out of my wheelchair and I get into my bike, I kind of feel like Superman, and I love that feeling. It gets me into places that I can never get into that my wheelchair can't take me.
Sun Common has been an amazing partner in this project. We already surpassed the point that we thought we would reach by the end of the season, and a lot of that's just thanks to Sun Common.
It takes a community, it takes a lot of people to be out there, and you're really doing good for everyone. You're sustaining these trails, making new trails, making mountain biking more accessible for everybody.
The goal here is net zero, so all of the energy consumed here I want to come from the roof, and I chose Sun Common very specifically. This is just a smarter way to buy energy. All my yard equipment is electric and battery operated. I mean, every morning when I come out now, I look back and I go, yep, that sunlight is falling from the sky and that energy is being put into that car as we speak, which, I don't know, doesn't get much cooler. Riding on sunshine.
The beauty of grass is that you have to look at it as every blade of grass being a solar panel. And that grass is absorbing sun's energy the entire time there's sun out.
Being a small farm, we don't have the scale of cash flows that a lot of larger farms have. So for us to be able to stay in business, it's important that we are able to utilize every one of our spaces as efficiently and as profitably as we can. Our rooftops were something that really hadn't served us any purpose, but now that they can actually produce the amount of electricity that we need to run the farm, that's just, it was a no-brainer. Dairy is something that I can firmly stand behind. I believe that it is very nutritious, very good for you, and done right, I believe that it's also good for the environment.
I think we're at the point now that it'd be crazy not to have solar. when we decided that we were going to use a commercial company instead of doing it ourselves, which was an option, I did research on Suncommon because I don't know that I trust lots of solar power companies. And, you know, it's a big project. There's so many things that can go wrong. I wanted a company that I felt good about.
We're filming.
We understand what local issues are.
Other credit unions might offer like the VHFA and the Champlain Housing Trust, but it's cool that we have our own product.
It's called home ownership made easier. It essentially gets somebody into a house who does not have a down payment. There's a lot of lenders who are not willing to take a look at the type of transactions that are going in there. But the fact is Vermonters live in those communities.
Every second, Vermonters spend $20 with Amazon. That's $20 going to someone you don't know and will never meet. You are just an order number to Amazon. $20 every second. That means every minute, Vermonters are spending $1,100 with Amazon. You might as well throw it in the trash. It's time to change. Let's keep this $1,100 in our Vermont economy. Mighty is an online shopping platform that keeps money in the local community. You order things, it comes from independent retailers nearby, it's dropped to your doorstep. Together, we can change online shopping for good. Visit Mighty, MYTI.com to get started.
You can make progress by doing the things you love.
If you can farm, fight food deserts. If you can surf, surf for racial justice. Like to read? Start a banned book club. Protest with an ice cream cone or project new meaning on an outdated statue. Get in a costume, but try not to get arrested. You have the tools for doing good, and the greatest tool is your own unique flavor. Ben & Jerry's.
Make some mother truckin' change.
Playoff soccer has arrived in Burlington, Vermont. Reading United AC, hosted by Vermont Green FC. Brian McLaughlin, Matt Montel with you. It's a rainy Tuesday evening, Matt, but it's great to have everybody with us. For the first time, Vermont Green FC hosting a playoff match. This is a bit of a play-in. They win, they make the round of 32. There are 35 teams, though, in the USL2 playoffs, with the Eastern Conference getting 6 play-in teams to play for 3 spots. These 2 teams amongst them, Vermont Green FC finishing 3rd in the division of the Northeast, while Reading United AC 2nd in the Mid-Atlantic. Great to have playoff soccer here in Burlington, Matt. Even with this weather, should be a really fun evening.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like it's clearing up. The soccer lords have decided that we will play this match tonight, and I think it's worth noting, it's with this type of format, all the chips are on the table. It's basically you have to go all in at this point. There's no kind of trying to play this around and try to sneak it out. This is basically you have to win no matter what. So, and I love those type of matches because you start to see a little bit more of the level of bravery out of the teams in those type of formats. And again, I think we also need to highlight that it's pretty incredible that Vermont is now second time in 3 years making the playoffs, and it's wonderful that we get to host it. I understand the weather is not necessarily as picturesque as we always wish to be, but it looks like the clouds are clearing up, and it looks like we're going to have a ball game.
2 teams that were desperate down the stretch of the regular season, meeting for the first time ever. Vermont Green FC needed a win against Western Massachusetts, who finished 2nd in the division, and the Green came back from a 1-0 deficit to get a 3-1 victory on the road. Reading United, Matt, in a similar situation. They needed to win out. Entering their last week of the regular season, they win 3 times in 7 days. They end up finishing 2nd in the Mid-Atlantic Division, winning a tiebreaker over Westchester. It's wet, it's rainy, two clubs meeting for the first time ever. There are so many factors that I think kind of make for a recipe that should lead to an explosive game tonight. How do you see all those things combining? Two teams that have been playing with desperation for a little over a week now, and a bit of a wet pitch should make for some really big-time fireworks.
Yeah, I think considering basically where, like, now that it's basically you have to win this in order to literally go forward, that it's going to be a little bit probably in that first 5-10 minutes, it's going to be a little bit fire and brimstone, for lack of a better term. I think we're going to see a lot of energy, especially now that we've also had to delay the warm-up. So basically they've had to warm up for, 10-15 minutes we've been watching them, and then I think they ran right in to grab their kits, and they're back out. So they haven't even had time for blood to settle, anything. It's just basically let's go into it. And I think that home field advantage is going to play a little bit of a part, because it means more, I think, to Vermont just by, a small percentage that, okay, we have to do this. Everyone showed up. They're in the rain. We're watching the fans across the field right now with umbrellas and, raincoats and everything. They came out to watch. I think they just have a little bit more of that motivation for it. But, I'm not going to sleep on Reading at any point on this. They also want the same thing.
Let's look at the Reading starting 11, a team that can really score. They led the Mid-Atlantic Division in goals, and those top three are three names to know. Jalen Orr, a 20-year-old from Gardner-Webb with 3 goals. Sam Hershey is the number 9, 7 goals on his season, the 21-year-old striker from American University. And then the French international Dominic Topolsky, a 23-year-old from Mount St. Mary's, tied for the team lead in goals at 7. But Matt, I know you immediately looked at Robbie Lyons, the 23-year-old Irish midfielder, his first start of the season, coming tonight in the middle of the pitch for Reading United.
Well, yeah, when you had told me that, it kind of put like a little asterisk around his name for what to watch, because granted, it's not the first time that he's played necessarily. It's the first time that he started. So he's got some minutes under his legs, and he has played within this team and in this system. But it is kind of, you're throwing the lion in the lion's den, as I had said, that in a playoff match, that is kind of a difficult prospect to think about. So it's going to be interesting to watch how he controls, that midfield from that, quarterback position within a 4-3-3.
4 changes for Reading United from their last match on Saturday. Their head coach is Casey Moore. They have a very experienced back line that we'll talk about more throughout this match. Let's look at the home side starting 11. The green mat with so many familiar faces. Bazzini leading the line. Castro and Zenge are the wings, with Rodri and Layton sitting deeper. But after the game-winning goal against Western Massachusetts, it's his first start in a green uniform in USL 2 play. Mohamed Ibrahim, known as Mo Ibra around these parts, gets the start at the number 10.
I have no qualms with it whatsoever, because I remember the few times that we've been able to actually watch Ibra play. What I actually noticed from him was that he is small in stature. He's small in size. But he keeps the ball underneath his feet just enough, so close that it's very difficult to actually strip the ball from him or actually tackle him without fouling him. So he either draws the foul or he keeps it, and then he finds the pass. He finds the outlet from it. But then also his tenacity, which I was honestly shocked and surprised by, was that for somebody his size, he goes into a tackle 110%. So he's going to play a part within that, center 3 between Rodri and Layton. He's just going to be a little bit higher, obviously, but he will come in and do some very defensive work in there. So I think it's a good idea to play him in that position for it. And I like having Zengi on the right, because I love Zengi's right foot. I know Zengi's got a lot of really good qualities about him, but what I like the idea of is that when Zengi gets up into that final third, it's maybe the way that I'm envisioning it is that it's going to be almost a little bit more predictable for Bazzini to make his runs, because he knows that Zengi's going to be able to just put it on a dime, whether it's going to be in behind the back line or, fire a low driven pass, directly to his feet where he plays his back to goal, whatever it is. I kind of like that idea.
Ibrahim, the youngest ever player in a Vermont Green FC uniform. Other changes for Adam Pfeiffer's squad, both outside backs. Nick Lockerman steps into the lineup wearing the number 10 this evening. He'll play left back, which is his natural spot for the University of Vermont. And returning to the back line is Nathan Simeon, the 24-year-old from Montreal. He came off the bench against Western Massachusetts. Matt, it's a match with high stakes. Vermont Green have actually struggled in these matches at times at home this season. They've taken only 11 of 18 points in home matches. Is there any extra pressure that they have playing at home? I know you already said you think it's an advantage, but do you think they are going to be able to play free in front of these home fans, or will there be a bit of tightness, a bit of nerves on the Green side here in their home venue?
I've got a sneaking suspicion that they're going to go for it in the first 10, 15 minutes, that they're going to try to basically blitz the Reading team just in the, at least within that time frame. From there, depending on maybe what the scoreline looks, I think it becomes a little bit more measured. I think you become a little bit safer with your passes, and you try to create those passing sequences within certain areas of the field where you can kind of create those scoring chances for maybe Bazzini or Ibrahim or, So I have a feeling, considering that they've been sitting for 8-9 days since their last match, since versus Western Mass,
have only had one match in their last 10.
Exactly. I think they're just they're biting at the chomp there.
It was a big
chomping
win.
at the bit. Sorry, I said it wrong.
You got there eventually. It's already been a long night for us. We are ready to go from Virtue Field. Playoff soccer in the USL2 level. About to get underway. It is, as Matt already mentioned, the second time for Vermont Green FC in 3 seasons. They've made the postseason. Of course, 2 years ago in their inaugural campaign, that group of legends upset the top overall seed down in Virginia to start a dramatic playoff run. Some similar names, headlined by Rodri, still holding over from that year's team. Jaheim Wickham in net, the Syracuse Orange man, with his 9th start of the season between the sticks. Matt, this is so much fun. Getting to have some win-or-go-home soccer on the home turf of Virtue.
It's the best setup. It's honestly the most entertaining setup. Playoff soccer, playoff sports in general, but playoff soccer is just, you start to see the leash get taken off earlier in matches. Yes, you mentioned, how do you see it starting? I do see Vermont kind of going for it very quickly. I see Reading potentially do the same, but I don't know because I haven't watched them enough. But otherwise, I got a feeling also with these conditions, how wet that field is, that ball's going to skip, Brian. So, take your chances once in a while. Just take a pop from outside the 18.
Underway with Dominic Topolsky, the French international attacker, and along the Reading back line. They start Joe McCade, whose twin brother John is operating in the midfield. Tim Timchenko is their center back, the Ukrainian captain. Luisin Cavalier is the other center back alongside Timchenko, and then Eamon McLaughlin, the right back for the visiting Reading United AC. Timchenko and McLaughlin have started every game together alongside the back four for the visitors. They've played 12 season-long games to the 13 of Vermont Green.
And I apologize if you already mentioned it, but we have brothers on the left side of this Reading team.
The McCade twins.
Right? The McCade twins.
John will operate farther forward, whereas Joe is the natural left back. They're both Maryland Terrapins.
Oh, we got some Terps in the house. All right.
The McCade twins are indeed Terps.
I am a Georgetown fan, but I got a soft spot for anybody that's from the Maryland area.
You would love the Mid-Atlantic division, I think.
I do, yeah.
I'm a Pennsylvania man at heart myself, but we are now Vermont, the adopted sons of Vermont, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Musa Ndiaye captaining the Green. He leads the team in games played and games started. Partnering again with Reed Fisher, one of our favorites to watch this season. Wickham's ball towards Zenge, and the flick intended for Bazzini. So well in the holds-up play, Bazzini. Zenge unable to feed Castro, intercepted by McLaughlin. Eamon McLaughlin, the Irishman, unable to escape Rodri.
This is going to be a big match for Rodri, in my opinion. I think he's going to have to be absolutely 9 out of 10 tonight, just because a playoff match himself, he needs to control the tempo. He needs to control as much possession as he can, winning the ball back, but also getting his head forward as much as he possibly can.
That is Sam Hershey, the 21-year-old from American University, leading the press. 7 goals, he and Topolsky. Again, they're tied for the team lead. 7 goals in 12 games in total. It was Ibra's first touch, couldn't connect with Simi. And that's Lions Put under pressure by Castro, and that nipped off the central referee. It's going to go back to the visitors as John McCade, the 19-year-old, working hard to get it back.
Reading already pressing high up enough to kind of make it difficult to play out of the back for Wickham.
We know the Green do love to play out of the back.
Yep.
And there's a foul on Zenge as he topples Joe McCade. McDade, I mean to say. Timchenko plays it back to the starting netminder, Kieran Brown, a 25-year-old keeper playing for the University of Indianapolis. 6'3". He's making his team-high 6th start of the year. And now it's the Green who control it in the midfield. Rodri with Lockerman. Nicely intercepted by McLaughlin. One of two starters for Reading that hail from Ireland. It is a really international flair to both these sides. Starters from, as I said, Ireland, Ukraine, France.
Portugal, Spain.
A Venezuelan in the Reading lineup as well. That's Gianpaolo Nardi. Of course, Moussa Ndiaye from Senegal. Mo Ibra is the Ghanaian attacking midfielder of the Green. Lockerman, German. Leighton, Australian. I think I've got them all now.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of countries represented in this clash.
We need a little bit of that Uruguayan spice, though. Maybe next season.
Not the Colombian spice? That was quite the finish to
that's
the Copas.
true. Yeah.
Space for Simi, the speedy Canadian, bit behind Ibra. That's Jalen Orr, who was sitting pretty deep on the midfield for Reading. Looks like he's more playing an outside mid position with Hershey and Topolsky up top. It's a free kick for the Green after the handball.
Might have been wrong. Nothing too fiery in the first 5 minutes, but we'll see what happens.
Those brave fans are ready to climb to their feet. Might be able to hear the Green Mountain Boys already going to work on their big bass drum in the background.
Huge credit to them, by the way.
Yes, sir.
We understand that it's not exactly ideal conditions to be sitting around, in the stands for it. But the fact that those stands already look pretty much 75% full, just big hats off to you guys.
The early ball from McLaughlin was intended towards Hershey, played by Ndiaye. And again, the Greens settled things down at the back, cleared away by Wickham. Green holding the ball, Matt, but things have been tilted to our right.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's been more or less on the right side for sure.
Leighton looking for Bazzini, but off target. And the throw-in coming for Joe McDade.
But we haven't really seen Bazzini get on the ball yet.
Topolsky, the back heel flick, looking for Hershey. There's Wickham.
Once Bazzini starts to get on the ball a little bit more and he's able to hold it up just for a couple seconds and then starts bringing Zengi and Castro and Ibra up like a little bit further, then that starts to pull them back a little bit. It seems very obvious thing to say, but that's literally right now that's what's kind of missing is like, all right, we need to get, Bazzini on the ball so that we can start to move up further into the second and the third half.
There's a flick from Bazzini, collected by Zanget. Trying to flick with the outside of his foot, but he's unable to free up Castro. McLaughlin working well with Cavalier. There's the powerful head of Reed Fisher. That's going to be a fun matchup. Fisher and Ndiaye against Hershey and Topolsky. 2-star strikers for Reading. And again, Zanget, pretty good ball for Castro. He's got a great right foot, Jackson Castro. But McLaughlin out-toughs him and picks it up.
Interesting letting of the play.
It was Leighton who took McLaughlin down. No call. Rodri picked up the loose change. You had a foul there?
A little bit, yeah. But you know how I feel about it.
You're okay when there's no whistle, more often than not.
I got to see blood, Brian.
Leighton, that's a good through ball for Simi. Simi trying to provide service. Tackled Doffman back towards Zenge. That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
That's Robbie Lyons who got toppled. It's already Zenge's third foul committed, Matt, inside 10 minutes.
All right, so
He's come out feisty.
I wasn't way off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big challenge.
It's a good one, but he didn't go in for an injury.
Again, one of those storylines we highlighted earlier. Robbie Lyons making his first start of the summer. Mo Ibra in the green midfield. I know it's a slightly different position, but his first start in USL2 play as well. Two guys in a massive moment. Will one of them have a moment of magic or make a mistake? It was magic for Ibra against Western Massachusetts. And now it's Rodri who trips up Hershey.
Well, to go back to your point, too, it's really interesting and almost, a shame how short the USL2 season is, because we've had the pleasure of watching basically this entire squad rotate around, and I remember I just fell in love with Gatto. And I remember watching Gatto play. I was like, this guy is the absolute baller, and he put on a clinic that match. But it's a short season, and when you have other players who are maybe they're a little bit more consistent in certain metrics of the way that Adam wants to play, then it is what it is. But there's not enough time. It's not a 30-plus match season, so you it's rolling of the dice a little bit, but it's also just like measuring like what's going to be the most consistent like performers for how I want to play.
And the flick on from Lyons was wide of the mark, intended for Wickham's net. A free kick taken by Topolsky. First free kick into either goalie's box. Well, this Vermont Green FC side, we've discussed it all year. The defensive marks have been a real strength. They've only allowed 3 goals at home all season.
Yeah, looking at the other divisions too, and especially the division that Reading plays in, that stood out to me was the actual defensive record for Vermont. It's incredible. I think it's honestly, I'd have to look back, obviously, from the previous 2 seasons, but I think this has been, one of the better? That is definitely 100% foul.
Mazzini draws the free kick. Matt, he gets chopped down, this time taken down by McLaughlin. Nope, sorry, that was Cavalier who committed the foul. As Bazzini does.
Yeah, did you just tell me that Bazzini drew a foul? No way. No way.
I know you're stunned. Just over the 10-minute mark, Nick Lockerman will stand over it, joined by Castro. This is where you got to have your eyes on Reed Fisher. It's Castro, and it was Leighton who got the flick.
Oh,
still in play.
Alive.
Flag goes up on the far side. Might have just leaked over the line, or perhaps Rodri was offsides on the Leighton header.
Not bad service, though. That's what I would have done. It was a little too far out to be like a real threat on goal, So
now Brown, a 4-year starter at Fort Hays State, now on the UIndy roster. Trying to communicate with his teammates in the midfield. Reading led their division, again, the Mid-Atlantic, a 6-team league, or 6-team division, I mean to say, in goals at 35. 32, I mean. This team can really score. However, the counter on that is for Reading United. They allowed 20 goals, which was right in the middle of the pack for their division. They played in high-scoring affairs.
So far, they're doing a good job of also like kind of eliminating that threat down the channels. One thing we had always kind of noticed about Vermont was that they did a lot of really good little 1-2s, like whether it was the wide player would check in deep towards maybe one of the fullbacks, and then they would lay it off. The fullback would run inside of them forward, and then it would all of a sudden break that whole line within the midfield, and then they'd be in the attacking third. But we haven't seen it, quite just yet.
And D.A. Lockerman's getting forward. And it'll be a green throw-in as it's off the outside of the boot of Cavalier. What do you make of Lockerman, Matt? This is a left-footed outside back where he plays for his school.
I wanted him to play that last ball with his left foot, but I like that ball.
Castro. Simi steps onto it. And now here's Ibra in the attacking third. Dancing, Simi. Bazzini's attempted header. Out for a goal kick. There defensively was Joe McDade. But pretty well worked down the right between Ibra and Simi.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like it when somebody tries to take it one time with that little layoff that we saw. Don't take a touch, lay it off, play it one time so nobody can really get into position.
Now here's the visitors playing out of the back. McDade. DA is shadowing Topolsky. It's an awkward one for Wickham, but he does pretty well on the bouncing ball.
Ooh, and a good little clash there.
Zenge went in high, and initially the red card came out of the pocket.
I was going to say, Jay, we're going to have words.
It's a caution for Zach Zenge inside of 15 minutes.
It is a bit, trying to think of the word.
Reckless?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a bit reckless. He didn't need to go in for it. But it's playoff soccer, so.
Again, the big boys are going forward for Reading. Timchenko and McDade all with size. That's toward Timchenko, but it's Ndiaye who meets it out of the air.
Good win from Ndiaye there.
Ibra powering his way forward, but the hustle back by Jalen Orr. And Reading resets it through their keeper, who pumps it to the midfield. That's Brown. And Lockerman will use Wickham, playing it over Lyons.
And see, that's where kind of the conditions play a part, is when you're trying to take a touch out of the air, where the ball's a little bit fast, got a little too much pace. When it's dry out, it tends to stick a little bit more to the leather of your boot. Whether now when it's wet, it starts to bob a little bit, you need an extra touch, and then everything slows down just by a second, and it's harder to play 1-2 touch.
There is still steady rain on its way down here in Vermont. Bazzini to Lockerman.
There you go, left foot from Lockerman. That's what
Ibra,
I want to see.
First time ball
That's
looking
better.
for Zenge.
That's good play.
Those are all first time touches.
Yeah, I want Lockerman to play his left foot to hug that line, feed it into the wide player, making that diagonal run in.
Cavalier had it go a bit loose and across the touchline. Haven't seen much of United in possession. Rather, it's been the green with the ball for the most part. Another green throw in. Lockerman methodically working his way down the sideline. He and Bazzini, who so often combined during the college season at UVM. Here's Bazzini.
Bounce.
He goes to the end line. Bazzini chops it back. Ibra!
Ooh.
Big Brown save. And we're still goalless. Best look yet.
Yeah, good body from the goalkeeper. Kept his spot, got wide, and then got low right as the shot was coming across.
Ibra again, though, finding a little pocket. Bazzini, the creator. Maybe a fortuitous bounce involved.
Got to have a little luck, you know.
The green growing in confidence. Wickham very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Bazzini, as always, the target man. And it's Fisher who's called for the foul.
He's okay with that.
He went through the back of Hershey. Look at this chance.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Maybe he wanted a little bit more contact on that. It seemed like it was maybe a little scuffed on the inside of his foot, but still a good opportunity.
Ibra, who scored his first USL 2 goal off the bench, with that same left boot against Western Massachusetts. In the end, the goal that sent the Green to the postseason. But now a free kick after the Fisher foul. Topolsky's been the most common man to take these. It is the right-footed Frenchman. And again, Ndie greets that ball with his forehead.
It's been absolutely everywhere.
As you would expect for the Green captain. Orr gets a piece of it. And Topolsky does well to win it back, but McDade can't hold the ball. And Fisher out of pressure. This Reading team, they are coming in red hot. They needed to win their last 3 matches to get in. They did. They won 2-1 against division winners Ocean City. Then a 6-1 thumping on the road at Real Central, New Jersey, before a narrow 2-1 win in their season finale against LVU Rush. Easily done there from Ndie.
I've been impressed with their organization, though, off the ball. They've won it back more often than not. Is that Ndie?
Getting big time forward.
Big run forward. But otherwise, they've only had, that one most recent scare we saw about a minute ago.
Now Ndie might be caught forward a bit. He'll have to work his way back. There you see him from left to right. And the Green do get things settled defensively as United set up their attack.
And they don't look panicked about their play at all.
They've been a team with their backs against the walls for a while, as I was detailing. This is a group.
Maybe that's just, that's their environment. They're
right.
perfectly happy with it.
This is a team that they have a very regular group of players, guys that have been playing together a lot.
Well. Yeah.
Pretty consistent lineups throughout their season. That came up off the hand of the Reading midfielder. Wickham's seen a lot of the ball.
Yeah, you can see this. It's a good high press from Reading here. They're making it very difficult to play through that midfield. Like, we haven't seen Rodri be able to receive a ball uncontested or even latent.
Here's Rodri with a nibble of space, and he simply lays it off for Lockerman.
And that's an errant pass there. Good tackle from Rodri.
Rodri and Lyons both just dove in, and Rodri the winner.
It's always going to be.
Portugal against Ireland right there. That is a big-time matchup to watch for. Those two want to boss the midfield. Castro and Lockerman. And Bazzini's checked out wide. Outside of the football, Lockerman. Lockerman squares it. Just nobody on the ends.
Good interception from Rodri there if he can keep it alive.
He does. Ibra and the Green switch the play pretty well. Zange one touching it wide. Or there defending. Play continues with Simi.
Jay's going to let it go.
Intercepted. Well done working his way backwards. That was Nardi. That shot gets blocked after a United turnover.
Good recovery from Reading, though, to get back in. But you're finding a lot of value out wide, especially on this left side we're noticing. That left side has probably been the most dangerous for Vermont.
Lockerman and Castro,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It was Orr who just took that throw, and he's the one that went down in his own defensive box. According to the referee, he went down too easily. Play was allowed to continue, resulting in that most recent Green chance.
I don't want the center ref to be the celebrity or the highlight of a match. So if he's going to let it play, at least within...
How about that there, Matt?
Yeah.
Hershey and Reed Fisher again get tangled. This one goes against Sam Hershey, well, welcome to the Reed Fisher experience.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Vermont.
Yeah.
You didn't know about this guy? You know about him now.
There is some nastiness to that man with the red hair, the Pac-12 Rookie of the Year at San Diego State. Fisher has been a staple for the Green. That was a poor ball intended for Castro by Layton. Too slow. Topolsky cut it out.
Just a couple of those that I've noticed the passes, though, is I think they're taking a little bit of weight off because of how wet it is. So that it's difficult, obviously, like I said earlier, that, you know, to receive the ball really fast, really hard in these type of conditions. So it's like it feels like everyone's just trying to find that good weight, like how the ball's spinning. And you're starting to see like a couple slower passes than they really actually need to be.
Some limited warm-up time, too,
yeah,
to get
exactly.
a feel for that.
Yeah.
Again, Hershey this time tangled with Ndie, the central forward who scored 6 times for American University in the fall, 7 goals on his summer. He's had his hands full with the big center backs of the Green. And that was Nardi who nods it out of play. No, McDade, number 18. A good flick from Zenge. Cues it up Bazzini.
That's what we want to see.
Zenge, pass behind Lockerman, but there's space down the left. Lockerman. Castro. Jackson Castro, the Creighton Blue Jay, twisting and turning. Gets the left-footed ball away. Bazzini!
Oh. Maybe he didn't know about it. Maybe he didn't know that was coming, but felt like he jumped a little too early. He was coming down when it came to him.
Just couldn't quite get his timing right. The star Green striker on the USL2 Team of the Month.
It's a really good chance, almost out of nothing. I saw, you know, Castro's his back was to the goal. It looked like he was going to try to go backwards and try to recycle the ball, but no, he beat his player and he got a chance created.
In the 25th minute, Reading, for the most part, have seemed organized, but the Greens seem more likely.
Yeah, within the last 10 minutes, absolutely. Yeah, it's starting to shift a little bit more now towards Vermont.
This Reading United team were national runners-up in both 2018 and 2019. A club that have had big-time success regardless of the level that they've played in. Second-place finishers in the Mid-Atlantic Division of USL2 play this summer.
Apart from, you know, the beginning of the season and maybe roughly the first 3 matches, I can't, you know, exactly remember, but we were talking about basically like creating more chances.
Yes.
We were either only scoring 1 goal or we were, you know, essentially getting a draw. They were not producing 2 to 3 goals per match, or at least a minimum 2 to try to get some more comfort. That's not something that they have a problem with. Now it's more or less, okay, well, you need to finish maybe a higher percentage of the amount of chances that you're creating, because we're seeing 10, 15 different chances created within a match. You need to at least put away 2, 3 of those chances.
After Zangi and Lockerman. Zengerman, that's a new name.
Zengerman.
Zangi and Lockerman is what I was going for. Bit of a miscommunication there.
You were trying to say Zengi the man.
Okay.
And you said Zenger man.
Oh, Zenger
I get
man.
it. I get it. I know where you were going.
You're reading my brain, reading my mind at this point in the year. When in reality, there was just a miscommunication between my brain and my mouth. Again, the Green trying to go long. Timchenko is the big presence at center back at 6'2" from Iona for Reading United. He's the one that's been mostly in Bazzini's way.
Yeah, I think he's also been the most solid so far from what I've noticed out of their back line.
Lockerman has room to advance. He's got a big left-footed shot. Instead chooses Castro. Jackson Castro on the cutback, left-footed ball! Ooh. It gets by Zenge. Brown was sprawling. It will leak for a Green throw-in. Castro again on that left foot.
Castro's knocking, man. Castro is knocking. He likes his chances versus the right back for Reading.
That's Eamon McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Who's had some trouble with Castro. That time it was Lockerman to draw in the right back McLaughlin, freeing up Castro. And they actually say that took a touch off of Zenge. So it was a throw-in for Reading, one quickly back by the Green, but now Topolsky. His back heel for Jalen Orr. Or the speedster from Gardner-Webb running away from Rodri, and Rodri penalized.
It's a good professional foul. Just kill the
too.
attack as much as possible, and now you're seeing green shirts walking back, getting into place.
going to be near midfield, but Matt, what do you make of Reading United sending their center backs forward? They've done this a lot so far when these, just inside their attacking half, they're trying to provide service.
I mean, yeah, this I think is the correct play from here because they're holding one player, it looks like, at the center mark, and then there's two players that are pretty much in line with, is that Timchenko?
Timchenko's in the box, that's Orr, and
That's Orr, sorry. That's Orr that was creating the service for it. But otherwise, yeah, throw your big mans in there to get the ball. Looks like they wanted to go to the far post from where he was standing, then feed it back into the box, create a little bit of havoc, maybe falls to a Reading feet. No, as long as you have the insurance, in case you do lose the ball, make sure that you have insurance on the break.
And as prolific as this Green attack has been at times, I think it's fair to say that it's usually not on the break. It's usually through build-ups.
Not a counter-attacking team at all.
It looks a lot like this when the Green are at their best. Playing through the back. Rodri under pressure, finds Fisher. And now Fisher wants the long ball. Ibra and Bazzini, the chasers. Timchenko, goal side, plays it out.
There you go, quick pass.
Mo Ibra, headed to VCU in the fall at 18 years old. What a moment for him, both on Saturday and again tonight. Simi. And Rodri. Here's Ibra. And Rodri wants the early ball, intended to somebody at the back post, but McLaughlin, the cool header back to Brown. In the 30th minute, still looking for the first goal of this knockout round playoff match. The winner will go to the round of 32. One of 3 East Coast's, you call them play-in games, you can call them knockout games, call them what you want. They are postseason soccer. Also happening this evening, Western Massachusetts hosting FC Motown, and Virginia Beach United hosting the SC United Bantams. So one of 3 games in action as we talk to you.
We got a lot going on.
Busy night. Rodri again trying to flip the field. That was Lockerman, his target. And again, McLaughlin, the read on it for Brown.
For the cross, I feel like McLaughlin's been actually kind of well positioned, but it's when you go 1v1 on the dribble, that's when he's gotten beaten, 2-3 different times. So try to get it to Castro's feet as much as you possibly can. If you can cross it and get it to his feet, great. Obviously don't stop trying to do that, but otherwise, if you can get it, on the ground to him, that's where it's starting to look dangerous.
McDade trying to play it forward. Hershey upends Lockerman, no foul. Leighton pinwheeling out of pressure. And there's Bazzini in that wide area again. Castro takes the bump and the foul. This one going against the Venezuelan, Nardi. In contrast to the United approach there, Matt, the Green playing this one on the ground. They want to play through feet.
I mean, that preferably, yes, that's the way that Green actually wants to play. If they can, that's a whole other story. It's right now that ball has been bobbling a lot. It's very difficult to play it on the ground and also have it have the same amount of zip. Like it's either moving too fast for, some of the players to receive it and just play it off one touch. They kind of have to take like a prep touch, then a pass.
McDade able to sling it for Hershey, shadowed by Musa Ndiaye. That might be the matchup to watch when Reading have the ball. And now they'll play it coolly all the way back to Brown. That Joe McDade for Jalen Orr. Intercepted by Leighton, but his ball back towards Zange was wide of the target. Leighton and Topolsky in a duel. It's going with United. Still a bit of a drizzle coming down on those faithful fans. Announced as a sellout 2 days ago. Probably not at quite capacity tonight, but Still impressive. All
The
those.
town still showed up.
I would say so.
Yeah.
They're not going to miss playoff soccer this
No.
time of year.
Ooh.
Advantage play. That is a foul. It's picked up by Bazzini after Zenge got chopped down. Now Bazzini gets undercut. And it's a foul on Joe McDade. Bazzini knows right where the contact's coming from.
And I understand that it wasn't a direct pass to Bazzini, but that's who I've kind of noticed missing a little bit. You know, the times that he has been on the ball, that he's received the ball, he's created something, you know, like, or he's drawn the foul where you can get a set piece, whatever it is. But that's something that I would emphasize at least for the remainder of this first half. But going into the second half, it's like we need to get the ball to Bazzini's feet more often because he will check in, he will draw in a center back, he'll carry one, maybe two with him, he'll create space in behind, and that's where Castro and Zengi could potentially find those diagonal runs into the box.
Green are going to keep their center backs towards midfield. They're keeping their attacking shape. Zengek, Joe McDade in front of him. Surrounded, still clips one towards Ibra, and it leaks through. Will be a Green throw. Well, this Reading United defense, they only have one shutout all year. It came in their season opener. It's been about an average defense, I would say. What carried them to the playoffs was their ability to score. Haven't been able to create too much yet against a stingy Vermont defensive group. Late in the early ball, Ibra lays it off Zenge. Zenge dancing on the edge of the area. It's going to fall nicely for Rodri. And Rodri whips it back for Simi. Simi provides the cross, and Zenge was
Zenge
just
get ahead
behind
of that?
him. He did. It goes
Okay.
over the bar.
It was hard to tell from this angle. I thought it might have been the defender, but again, good play from Green there. Get it out wide. Play it simple.
Unmarked.
Yeah, unmarked.
There's been real danger when the Green have been able to cross the ball into the Reading box.
I mean, we had seen it against Seacoast. We had seen it against like the higher teams within our division. There's good service in this team.
Simi and Lockerman. Castro have all found a way to whip balls into the area. Eamon McLaughlin for McDade. Timchenko. This is the central midfielder John McDade dropping into their back line. Cavalier. Topolsky. And Rodri go to ground. It's going to be a throw-in for Reading United, I think.
Nah, it looked like he got a little bit of the foot on that, so I think it's going to be play it from the spot. Oh, no. Okay, they got a throw.
I thought it looked like it could have been a foul on Rodri as well.
A little bit, but so far he's been actually committing any of those fouls actually really well timed too. You know, there's like a fine art between just going in full-blooded, obviously, and just blowing somebody up versus
Polsky lays it off Lions, and now Hershey. Flag is up. Wickham with the strong hands in the end. Topolsky put the shot on target, but there was an offsides in there first. Oh, we got a foul away from the ball, actually, perhaps. Yeah, they're bringing this ball
way back.
Pretty wide, actually, yeah. Hershey has been displeased with the physicality from the Green back line, and I think might have returned the favor.
I think that's exactly what you want to do, though, especially as the home team. But in any playoff matches, your back line, as long as you're doing it within like kind of the parameters of what's going to be a yellow card every single time, because you can't do that the whole match. But Fisher, I think, has like a subtle art to it that he knows how to get you really frustrated. He knows how to make it look like maybe, you know, it is a little bit too physical, but he doesn't do it in a manner that it would get you a card.
McDade skipping his way down the left flank. Tries the early ball behind Hershey, but Topolsky runs onto it. Topolsky blocked by Lockerman and pounced on by Wickham. What a chance for Dominic Topolsky, but the green defense stands strong.
Hearts and mouths there a little bit, Brian, but very well done. Good last-ditch defending.
First real chance that Reading have had. Topolsky with his 7 goals on the year.
And that's what I'm a little bit nervous about is there's been, maybe 3-4 different chances created by Green.
Cavalier intercepts. Topolsky dancing on Lockerman. Whips it towards Hershey. His header has Wickham moving, but not worried.
Not enough pace on it. But, yeah, it's literally taking advantage of those chances as you get them. So I understand that it's only been probably like 3, 4, maybe 5 chances. I haven't looked at the actual numbers yet, but – at some point, you have to bury one of these to give yourself that, the quote-unquote insurance goal to at least feel a little bit more comfortable on the ball and stop being nervous about this.
It was Lockerman who made the big block. You could see it on the replay. And then Wickham alert enough to pounce on a ball that was headed towards the target. But again, one back in the midfield by Reading. Sprayed forward by Nardi, but Topolsky and he weren't on the same page this time. Wickham just trying to ease the danger. All of a sudden, Reading United firmly on the front foot.
It ebbs and flows, Brian. It ebbs and flows.
Zenge's ball nowhere close to Castro. And McLaughlin out of pressure. Timchenko plays it back for Brown. Almost looking a little sunny outside. Sun setting here on this late Tuesday evening, middle of July.
What a luxury.
I'm about to say a cliche about Vermont weather, but maybe I won't.
Well, we've either cooked and gotten the worst neck burns standing up top.
Yes.
Or we've been sat inside outside of the rain. Yeah, there's no in between.
And yet we still call it paradise.
Right. Because it is beautiful.
Of course. Always. The Green Mountain State. Great to have Reading United AC here as visitors. Up from the Keystone State of Pennsylvania. I would say one big scoring chance apiece inside the opening 40 minutes. Ibra had his shot saved by Brown, and then Topolsky had it blocked by Lockerman for Reading.
Yeah, definitely 2 clear ones now, split evenly between them.
Or
more chances overall for Green, but otherwise not huge threatening chances. There was just that one from Ibra.
Hershey got the flick to it, but it was behind his target, teammate Topolsky. And DA not on the same page as Ibra. And Nardi's able to shovel it wide. Plenty of space for Orr. This has definitely been a better spell for United.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was making that comment, like ebbs and flows. There was a solid 20, 25 minutes there where Vermont were consistently getting within that final third, creating some chances, looking better on the ball, looking more comfortable. And then you will see this on average, doesn't matter which form the teams are in. Overall, there will be periods of time where the other team will actually start to settle into the match a little bit more, get more time on the ball. And then we've seen already now they've created one very sketchy chance in Vermont's eyes.
Cavalier looking down the line. Musa and DA happy to pick the ball up in front of Rodri. Leighton trying the angled ball with Bazzini. Shoulder to shoulder with McDade. McDade, who took a touch to it, forced to send it back out towards midfield. Can Rodri find that pass forward? Not this time.
No. Errant pass there. Uncharacteristic of him.
Lyons plays it passively. Room for Lyons to pick his head up. And Topolsky in a wide area. His cross over the head of Hershey, and nobody contesting Simeon on the back post.
Lockerman just gesturing that there was nothing forward, making that run. He received it into space, looked up, didn't see anything coming towards him. And granted, we are in the 43rd, coming up on the 43rd minute.
Early ball towards Ibra, just couldn't quite get it right, and it's into the breadbasket of Brown.
But I feel like the tempo is, the movement off the ball is maybe just like dialed down a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit of tired legs. We are getting in late into the first half from here, and I think, all right, get to the halftime. If it's 0-0, regroup. I'd say emphasize on trying to quickly transition to the wide spaces, because that's where I think Vermont has had basically the most success and the most luck out of it. So, but Reading, I would say for them, don't do anything necessarily different when it comes to the center of the park, because it doesn't look like the center of the park has been that engine room for Vermont in this first half from what I've seen. It's kind of, all right, you get it, you receive it from the back line, and then you try to feed it out as quick as possible out wide, but it hasn't been anything down the gut.
Zenge unable to find the ball forward that time, and it's led to Lyons on the front foot for Reading. Lyons chops it for Hershey. He plays it back for Orr. Orr squaring off with Zengi. His cross took a deflection, and it's Lockerman alone at the back post, but now Hershey allowed to take a strike. Just put wide. Hershey got it wide open inside the area.
And as soon as that ball went up, I noticed that nobody was around him. He had way too much time to strike that ball. And Vermont, very lucky that he didn't get that on target low to that post.
Inside the final minute of first half regulation. Expecting a couple extra minutes added on.
We're hearing that potentially too, Brian.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's been some fouls.
7 fouls committed by Vermont, 6 fouls committed by United. McLaughlin's ball. Hershey had Fisher pinned on his back. Couldn't keep his touch close. Layton off of Castro, and it's Nardi who can track it down. And now Topolsky has been giving Lockerman some headaches over the last few minutes. McLaughlin, too tall for Lyons. There's Wickham.
Good hands from Wickham. And there's our crowd, Brian.
Singing as loud as ever. Bazzini's given room to turn. First time in a while he's been able to pick it up. A back spinner that was too short for Zengi. Layton went to grounds. The ball falls for Simeon. Is their chance in the final moments of this half for the Green. Zenge. Simi tries to loft one up towards Castro, just wasn't prepared. And Fisher will play the role of the chaser. Reading content to sit deep for now. Layton can carry it across midfield.
Yeah, I think both teams are perfectly okay with going into the halftime 0-0.
Pretty move there from Simi. It's Zenge. Now Layton. That's a line-splitting ball for Mo Ibra. Ibra from deep, and Brown had it covered well.
Good chance.
Ibra.
Good chance.
We
haven't seen enough of that, though, within this first half. We haven't seen Bazzini or Ibra having chances to actually take a shot, receive the ball, take a touch. This is what we need more of in the second half.
Could he have played Bazzini there?
Potentially. But I don't discredit him, or I don't have any issues with him taking a shot from that distance.
No, we like when guys have a crack.
Exactly. And like I said, it's a slick surface. If you get a lot of pace on that, it's a problem, especially if it bounces before the goalkeeper.
45 minutes down, and there's no score in this playoff opener. Both teams applauded as they'll head to the locker room with jerseys soaked and yet to find a goal. Reading United AC and Vermont Green FC scoreless. Still 45 minutes to play from Burlington. We'll be back for the second half in this playoff showdown. No score. This is Vermont Green FC football.
The sauce.
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I got the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
Human nature is a master at making a big mess. Thankfully, nature is powerful enough to save us from ourselves. 7th generation Safer Choice certified dish formula helps remove stuck-on food with one unstoppable pack. That's the power of 7th generation.
I work at Suncommon, and we are here today in Worcester on the north branch of the Winooski River, and we are planting 1,122 trees today.
The pandemic has left us spending less time together, and so this is really a good opportunity to connect with old colleagues and meet new people as well. And one of the reasons we're planting trees is because it does sequester carbon. It is about climate action, and so this is just another way that we get to do that work.
Trees are really important wildlife habitat in river areas. So this is what we call a riparian forest buffer is what we're creating today. In addition to all the wildlife habitats, this is a really good water quality project to slow down water and let some sediment drop out before it gets to the river. I know that planting this one tree might not do a lot, but when all of us work together, we just planted a whole forest, basically. It's really cool.
This is the first adaptive friendly trail network that's being built from design to execution. Suncommon volunteers are here tonight, as well as some new volunteers from all around.
If you make a trail that rides well for an adaptive bike, it's going to ride well for two-wheeled bikes as well.
My name is Greg Durso, and I'm riding the Reactive Adaptations Hammerhead. There's a lot of common misconceptions when it comes to what adaptive or accessible trails are. For us though, when we say accessible, it just means enough room for our bikes to get down it. So we don't want our trails dumbed down, we just want them just a little bit wider, a little bit more attainable for us to use. I'm paralyzed, I'm a T4 paraplegic, so I can't walk. So this bike enables me to get out there and start riding. When I get out of my wheelchair and I get into my bike, I kind of feel like Superman, and I love that feeling. It gets me into places that I can never get into that my wheelchair can't take me.
Suncommon has been an amazing partner in this project. We already surpassed the point that we thought we would reach by the end of the season, and a lot of that's just thanks to Suncommon.
It takes a community, it takes a lot of people to be out there, and you're really doing good for everyone. You're sustaining these trails, making new trails, making mountain biking more accessible for everybody.
The goal here is net zero, so all of the energy consumed here I want to come from the roof, and I chose Suncommon very specifically. This is just a smarter way to buy energy. All my yard equipment is electric and battery operated. I mean, every morning when I come out now, I look back and I go, yep, that sunlight is falling from the sky and that energy is being put into that car as we speak, which, I don't know, doesn't get much cooler. Riding on sunshine.
The beauty of grass is that you have to look at it as every blade of grass being a solar panel. And that grass is absorbing sun's energy the entire time there's sun out.
Being a small farm, we don't have the scale of cash flows that a lot of larger farms have. So for us to be able to stay in business, it's important that we're able to utilize every one of our spaces as efficiently and as profitably as we can. Our rooftops were something that really hadn't served us any purpose, but now that they can actually produce the amount of electricity that we need to run the farm, it was a no-brainer. Dairy is something that I can firmly stand behind. I believe that it is very nutritious, very good for you, and done right, I believe that it's also good for the environment.
I think we're at the point now that it'd be crazy not to have solar.
When we decided that we were going to use a commercial company instead of doing it ourselves, which was an option, I did research on SunCommon, because I don't know that I trust lots of solar power companies. And you know, it's a big project. There's so many things that can go wrong. I wanted a company that I felt good about.
We're filming.
We understand what local issues are.
Other credit unions might offer like the VHFA and the Champlain Housing Trust, but it's cool that we have our own product.
It's called home ownership made easier. It essentially gets somebody into a house who does not have a down payment. There's a lot of lenders who are not willing to take a look at the type of transactions that are going in there. But the fact is Vermonters live in those communities.
Every second, Vermonters spend $20 with Amazon. That's $20 going to someone you don't know and will never meet. You are just an order number to Amazon. $20 every second. That means every minute, Vermonters are spending $1,100 with Amazon. You might as well throw it in the trash. It's time to change. Let's keep this $1,100 in our Vermont economy. Mighty is an online shopping platform that keeps money in the local community. You order things, it comes from independent retailers nearby, it's dropped to your doorstep. Together, we can change online shopping for good. Visit Mighty, MYTI.com to get started.
You can make progress by doing the things you love.
If you can farm, fight food deserts. If you can surf, surf for racial justice. Like to read? Start a banned book club. Protest with an ice cream cone or project new meaning on an outdated statue. Get in a costume, but try not to get arrested. You have the tools for doing good, and the greatest tool is your own unique flavor. Ben & Jerry's.
Make some mother truckin' change.
Human nature's ability to contain itself is questionable. Thankfully, nature is powerful enough to save us from ourselves. 7th Generation's bio-based detergent goes deep to help break apart and wash away tough stains. That's the power of 7th Generation.
The sauce.
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made
The sauce.
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I got the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
Human nature is a master at making a big mess. Thankfully, nature is powerful enough to save us from ourselves. 7th generation Safer Choice certified dish formula helps remove stuck-on food with one unstoppable pack. That's the power of 7th generation.
Marlena. I work at Suncommon, and we are here today in Worcester on the north branch of the Winooski River, and we are planting 1,122 trees today.
The pandemic has left us spending less time together, and so this is really a good opportunity to connect with old colleagues and meet new people as well. And one of the reasons we're planting trees is because it does sequester carbon. It is about climate action, and so this is just another way that we get to do that work.
Trees are really important wildlife habitat in river areas. So this is what we call a riparian forest buffer is what we're creating today. In addition to all the wildlife habitats, this is a really good water quality project to slow down water and let some sediment drop out before it gets to the river. I know that planting this one tree might not do a lot, but when all of us work together, we just planted a whole forest, basically. It's really cool.
This is the first adaptive friendly trail network that's being built from design to execution. Suncommon volunteers are here tonight, as well as some new volunteers from all around.
If you make a trail that rides well for an adaptive bike, it's going to ride well for two-wheeled bikes as well.
My name is Greg Durso, and I'm riding the Reactive Adaptations Hammerhead. There's a lot of common misconceptions when it comes to what adaptive or accessible trails are. For us though, when we say accessible, it just means enough room for our bikes to get down it. So we don't want our trails dumbed down, we just want them just a little bit wider, a little bit more attainable for us to use. I'm paralyzed, I'm a T4 paraplegic, so I can't walk. So this bike enables me to get out there and start riding. When I get out of my wheelchair and I get into my bike, I kind of feel like Superman, and I love that feeling. It gets me into places that I can never get into that my wheelchair can't take me.
Suncommon has been an amazing partner in this project. We already surpassed the point that we thought we would reach by the end of the season, and a lot of that's just thanks to Suncommon.
It takes a community, it takes a lot of people to be out there, and you're really doing good for everyone. You're sustaining these trails, making new trails, making mountain biking more accessible for everybody.
The goal here is net zero, so all of the energy consumed here I want to come from the roof, and I chose Suncommon very specifically. This is just a smarter way to buy energy. All my yard equipment is electric and battery operated. I mean, every morning when I come out now, I look back and I go, yep, that sunlight is falling from the sky and that energy is being put into that car as we speak, which, I don't know, doesn't get much cooler. Riding on sunshine.
The beauty of grass is that you have to look at it as every blade of grass being a solar panel. And that grass is absorbing sun's energy the entire time there's sun out.
Being a small farm, we don't have the scale of cash flows that a lot of larger farms have. So for us to be able to stay in business, it's important that we're able to utilize every one of our spaces as efficiently and as profitably as we can. Our rooftops were something that really hadn't served us any purpose, but now that they can actually produce the amount of electricity that we need to run the farm, that's just, it was a no-brainer. Dairy is something that I can firmly stand behind. I believe that it is very nutritious, very good for you, and done right, I believe that it's also good for the environment.
I think we're at the point now that it'd be crazy not to have solar.
When we decided that we were going to use a commercial company instead of doing it ourselves, which was an option, I did research on Suncommon because I don't know that I trust lots of solar power companies. And, you know, it's a big project. There's so many things that can go wrong. I wanted a company that I felt good about.
We're filming.
We understand what local issues are.
Other credit unions might offer like the VHFA and the Champlain Housing Trust, but it's cool that we have our own product.
It's called home ownership made easier. It essentially gets somebody into a house who does not have a down payment. There's a lot of lenders who are not willing to take a look at the type of transactions that are going in there. But the fact is Vermonters live in those communities.
Every second, Vermonters spend 20 bucks with Amazon. That's $20 going to someone you don't know and will never meet. You are just an order number to Amazon. $20 every second. That means every minute, Vermonters are spending $1,100 with Amazon. You might as well throw it in the trash. It's time to change. Let's keep this $1,100 in our Vermont economy. Mighty is an online shopping platform that keeps money in the local community. You order things, it comes from independent retailers nearby, it's dropped to your doorstep. Together, we can change online shopping for good. Visit Mighty, MYTI.com to get started.
You can make progress by doing the things you love.
If you can farm, fight food deserts. If you can surf, surf for racial justice. Like to read? Start a banned book club. Protest with an ice cream cone or project new meaning on an outdated statue. Get in a costume, but try not to get arrested. You have the tools for doing good, and the greatest tool is your own unique flavor. Ben & Jerry's.
Make some mother truckin' change.
Scoreless between Vermont Green FC and Reading United AC. Brian McLaughlin and Matt Montel back with you. Matt, a first half that I think went in some ways as we expected. Chances both ways. Both teams showed quality. In other ways, it was a half that maybe we didn't expect. No goals with the Reading United team that loved to play in these high-scoring matches.
Yeah, no, I thought, for the first 5-10 minutes, it was kind of a little bit measured, and then we started to see a couple reckless fouls. We started to see a little bit more, tenacity to the game for it. And then all of a sudden, for about a 20-minute stretch, it looked like Vermont was starting to string some passes together. They started to find success out wide. We especially saw that with Castro for a period of time, where he beat, I believe it was McLaughlin on that right side for Reading. But outside of that, it wasn't necessarily like a dominant, we're getting consistent. We're making the keeper work really, really hard for that first half. It was pretty, kind of tempered for the most of that first. What I did notice from Reading is that they probably have targeted Bazzini as something to neutralize in that, this entire match. Because we've only seen Bazzini really receive the ball 2 feet, maybe 3 times in that first half. And once you neutralize Bazzini, you take away that whole spear point of that entire attack. So you have to go wide. So yeah, that makes sense that you would see Castro or Zengi maybe get a little bit more success out wide because they're packed in, maybe 5-10 feet, a little bit tighter in the middle of the field, especially within the defense.
I guess then my follow-up question to you is, aside from just involving Bazzini more, I know. I love a good halftime adjustment.
You're going to ask me to be a coach, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to ask me to be a technician.
You know right where my mind's at. I'm just curious, is it the messaging of we're in a great spot, boys, let's keep going, and more of that vibe at the halftime talk? Or are there some tweaks and changes of some patterns that you're seeing that could help them? Maybe it is getting more involved with Bazzini or just keeping the ball at their feet better.
I don't think you would necessarily like completely throw a chair at a locker, you know, in the halftime. I see you laughing. But what I would say is we do need to get Bazzini or Ibra on the ball a little more often within this second half. So that's probably more communication towards maybe Fisher and DA, Leighton and Rodri, because they're going to receive the ball more often than not from Wickham when we get possession back, you know. Because you've seen that we recycle it back through our back line, and then they're looking forward. I would think that they, you know, Adam would probably want to say, okay, can you play that ball? Can you thread it? Maybe take a little bit more of a chance to get it to Ibra or Bazzini when he checks in. He's probably going to talk to Bazzini and say, listen, I need to get you more on it because you'll create more space in behind if we can get Castro and Zengi in behind you a little bit more.
That's well done in the 1-2. Leighton in the end, unable to find the final product. Ibra and Zengi working together along with Simi down the right. What'd you make of Leighton and Rodri in the first half? The two of them who have so often bossed midfields in the Northeast Division. Felt like at times they were given all they could handle by Reading.
7.5 out of 10. Like
typical.
literally nothing to write home about, but did nothing really wrong. Like, you know, I'd kind of give that rating to almost everyone. Like it's just basically
Kinda
been like,
both
yeah,
sides.
it's for both sides. I think like they've both been kind of right around that rating.
Fisher letting that one run. Almost caught the attention of Sam Hershey, the number 9 striker for United. That's Timchenko who's able to rise up over Bazzini. He's done a good job at that back line of just keeping a handle on the Star Green goal score. Not that it's been a slump for Bazzini. Did have an assist in the 3-1 win over Western Massachusetts Saturday, but has been a bit of a breather since his rapid month of May and June.
So we were talking off air during halftime, trying to kind of figure out what's going on with basically like more threatening chances created. Like there was the Ibra chance, and then I think there was one more.
Cross towards Zengi was probably the
cross towards
second best
Zengi,
chance.
yeah, and there was maybe one where Bazzini jumped a little bit too early. But outside of that, it wasn't like the goalkeeper wasn't working from there. You know, you don't want to get too superstitious about it, but it's like it's been 9 days since the last match, and can you get a little bit cold in front of net potentially if there's that amount of time versus Reading has, what did you mention? It was
They've
3
played
matches
3 times in
7
days.
days. Like, that's insane. So, yeah, like when I hear that, I'd say, oh, man, you've got like 30 miles on average within 3 matches. Like, you run probably an average of like 7 to maybe 9 kilometers within a match. So these guys have like 30 average miles like on their legs. Like, they should be tired or they should be, you know, leggy. They don't really look like it at this point. Vermont looks like right now they're playing a little less one-touch, you know, 1-2. The ball's not zipping. It's not sticking to the feet. It's, you know, it's just a little tiny bit off. It's not bad. It's just a little bit off, and that's kind of like the difference maker right now.
Here's some space for Rodri. Able to shrug off one tackle. Can't link up with Ibra. It's Castro, first-time ball towards Bazzini. Can't get the touch right. Bazzini able to keep it in play at the corner flag, though. Good first-time ball from Castro. And now Zengi powering to the touch line. Leighton coming as a reinforcement. And the green will reset with Fisher. For a half second there, you thought it might be a magical time for Bazzini. Had he been able to bring that ball down first time. That's Castro towards Bazzini. Half step too far in front of him. Brown handles it.
It's a tough ball anyways for him to get to. It wasn't high enough for him to just flick on with his head, so it's right at his chest. What does he do? He either has to settle it or create some magic with the outside of his foot.
I'm not going to
Which I'm not saying that he can't do.
Not going to put magic
saying he can't
by
do
him.
that.
He has produced some big-time moments in his green career. The all-time leading green goal scorer, McLaughlin's ball right at the chin of Wickham. There was some early success down the left side for Lockerman and Castro. Been a while since we've seen them link up.
Yeah, there was a solid 10 minutes there where we saw Castro beat McLaughlin, I think 2 different times, whatever. And it came out of kind of nowhere because he looked like he was marked tight enough that he wasn't going to get the chance
Simi's
created.
early ball. Brown tips it away on the Bazzini shot. And now it's a foul called on Simi as Orr goes just down.
That's a silly foul to me because, honestly, he's going absolutely nowhere. His back is looking, he's looking directly at the flag. Where is he going to go at this point? So just shield him and make him kick it long. He's not going to get it more than, 30, 40 meters. It's going to probably fall to green feet.
Good look there for Bazzini, who tried the first-time volley. Put it on target. Brown tipped it wide for his second save. He made the stop with his left foot on Ibra in the opening half. That was McDade's attempt to go long that sailed out, and it's back with the green. Now Lockerman on the advance. Castro loves to whip it to the back post. Simi! No, that's Zange.
Oh.
He's frustrated. It's been a while since Zange scored. Hasn't scored since the month of May.
It's a really good chance, Brian, too. And I don't want to literally sit here and talk for 90 minutes saying that it's the conditions because I understand that, that's a good chance. But I do think that it's him slipping that maybe if it was a little drier, maybe he gets that foot to it.
The lunge at the last second, just not enough from Zange. Hershey again goes to ground after the push from Ndie. No foul. McLaughlin picks it up. He'll march forward. Plays that through for Lions. Now McLaughlin the low ball across, then Ndie intervenes. And does well to find the feet of Castro. Rodri paws it down. Dangerous ball for Ndie. And he does well. A no-nonsense clearance.
Great touch from Bazzini there. Under a lot of pressure as well.
Part of what he does so well is being the outlet man.
And that's what I want to see in this second half. Try to find Bazzini as much as possible. I understand that it might not be a goal-scoring chance, but when he's on the ball, more chances do get created afterwards.
Good take by Simeon. On the ball from Castro. Tried to return it to him. Pinballs for Zange. And he's got Castro down the line. Castro tried to hook his foot around it and got that one a bit poorly.
Yeah, sat a little high.
Castro coming to the right side of the pitch there. Somebody trying to ignite this crowd. Well, Matt, I'll tell you an interesting number. Just keep this one in mind. This season for Reading United AC, they have one shutout defensively. It was the first game of the year. They have been shut out only once. Their entire schedule, the number 0 shows up only those 2 times.
You know what I want to say when you say something like that out loud.
Am I jinxing it?
It's like when I'm watching Manchester United and they say, they have never lost a match from 2-0 up at halftime.
Don't put that on me. Don't put this on me.
I'm sorry.
I'm a firm non-believer in the announcer jinx. Ibra will chase. It's played by Timchenko. That just to say, I know it's scoreless. I know we're beyond 55 minutes. There is still plenty of time for fireworks to light up the night sky.
There's no way this is ending in regular time 0-0.
Ibra.
It's going to break. I don't know exactly who. It looks like a little bit more towards green, but it's going to break.
Castro's at the controls. Simi down the line. Castro stops it on a dime. He's really involved to start. Simi lobs one to the back post, and again, just not quite right on the delivery there. The green really did generate their best moments with whipped-in balls from the perimeter in the opening 45, but Simeon couldn't put that one on a forehead.
Well, I mean, honestly, Adam and his staff probably watched that there's been nothing available to actually thread through that center of the park, which is great credit and great work to Reading, because they've actually kind of locked out and neutralized Bazzini in that first half. We saw Bazzini maybe get 3 different chances, but that was about it.
A really good defensive performance by Reading, no doubt.
And a lot of that success that we saw over the season was Bazzini checking in from, he would almost stand next to a center back, and then he would all of a sudden dart in when he would see, Rodri would pick up the ball, or even it might have been Ndie or Fisher, whoever he would see that they, are uncontested, they pick their head up, and they could see the pass, so then he would check in. He would drag a center back, and sometimes 2, and then all of a sudden you have this pocket in behind him, and you'd see players start to take in a little bit of those diagonal runs in there. But so far, Reading have done a really good job of just eliminating that. They must have done some video work.
Timchenko, the captain, has started every game at center back. He's done a good job on Bazzini. Zenge and Castro finding some pockets here in the second half. Lions took advantage of a poor touch there from Zenge. Forced the errant pass. It goes back to Brown. Cavalier plays it forward. Hershey tries to lay it off, but Musa Ndie says, I will take that one. And it's a foul going against Robbie Lyons, who remains down on the ground. He and Ndie were all types of tangled up. It's a yellow card on Ndie. They're saying he caught Lyons with an elbow. Lyons was wrestling with Musa. Here's a replay.
Yeah, we can take another look at this.
Here's going to be Lyons. He's going to grab Ndie, and Ndie catches him with the right
that's
arm.
Harsh. All he's doing is necessarily just trying to get a hand to the chest, the body. He's not going for an elbow there.
It's Musa Ndie, who's booked for the first time this season.
The only thing I'll say is that I think the center ref can understand that that's not malicious. So, yes, he gets a yellow card. Maybe he shouldn't have, but he gets a yellow card. But if it was malicious, then you have to think about the mindset of a center ref. So if we take another look at this, no,
He does hit him, but it's
he does, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
He's just trying to get a hand to the chest. He's trying to basically make sure his body stays in front. So the center ref will see that. He gives him a yellow. We can debate whether he deserves a yellow, but otherwise he's not in that center ref's mind where it's kind of all right, man, you had a couple bad ones. I'm giving you a yellow now. That was a bad one. It's not like that. It's more, I don't know, cautionary.
Yep. I understand why the yellow's given there for sure on replay. There's a lot of contacts. It is going to be a green free kick, though. They had called the foul initially on Lyons.
Interesting.
And then Ndie is the one who gets booked after they say the whistle had gone for the foul for hitting him.
That's a unique one.
That's the decision
All
as
right.
I understand it. And I'm sticking to it.
I believe you.
Okay. Thank you. Fisher put Rodri in a bit of a predicament. Rodri welcomes in the pressure and brings it back with Fisher.
And again, he hasn't had a lot of time on the ball, Rodri.
Rare mistake from Bazzini after Simi fed him. And Brown willing to play that out for a throw-in. Starting to think about any substitutions, Matt. Where does your mind go when you look at the men available?
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it. I'm kind of thinking Comby.
You love yourself some Ryan Comby minutes.
I do love me some Ryan Comby. I don't know. I think he's got the pace. He's got the tenacity. I think he's good energy to add to this. I'd almost think about maybe around the 65th, 67th minute, possibly swap him in for. I mean, he could do it at right at the center. He could play the 10, or he could go in for Zengi.
Other attacking options include Jacob Leibovitz, who recently scored his 5th goal in USL2 play.
Right.
Gabe Threadgold could provide pace down a wing.
That was the other name I was looking at for sure.
Those are more the attacking options. Lucas Winshower.
I don't think you need to play any defensive or controlling options right now.
Those options would be Drexler, Winshower, or Pacella.
The fact that it's 0-0 right now, it's the 61st minute.
Trying to find Bazzini in behind was Fisher, and it's again claimed by Brown.
It really depends on what happens in the next, 5-10 minutes. If Vermont find themselves 1-0 up, I can see maybe a Pacella coming on. I can see potentially, maybe a Leibovitz, he sits way deeper and he adds almost a fourth man kind of further up within the midfield. But outside of that, if it stays 0-0, getting close to the 70th, you got to start throwing in attacking players. Just get a different look.
It's fair to say we're at a vital stage in this game as we've crossed the hour mark. Layton sprays it out into the path of Simi. He's been lively this second half. Trying to attack Jalen Orr. Instead, just plays it deep for Wickham. Didn't have any options. That clears Zenge. Cavalier won the opening ball. Then McDade. Simi trying to muscle his way down the right flank. And here comes the game's first change. It is a midfield swap. Robbie Lyons will exit. And Zach Gardner, a 20-year-old from Siena, where he was a second-team All-MAC performer in the midfield, comes off the bench. His 9th appearance of the year, 5th off the bench. USL 2 playoff action. The winner will move on to the round of 32 in the really first round of the playoffs. There's actually another change in there as well for the visitors. Modu Faye, a midfielder from Bethany College, looks like he's entered in the attack. So both Faye and Gardner off the bench for the visitors. The first changes from head coach Casey Moore. Layton has some trouble. Faye, Topolsky. Topolsky onto his right, tries to bend one.
Not a bad attempt at all.
That
Very limited time. Yeah, exactly. Limited time, but he had a tiny little window. It's a good attempt.
He's in form. 7 goals on the year for Dominic Topolsky.
7 goals in a really short season, too. That's absolutely nothing to sniff at.
Both Topolsky and Hershey with 7 goals on the year, sharing that number for the team lead. Bazzini in a sea of United players. Castro intercepts. Lockerman. Down the line, Bazzini. Nice little flick. Castro running onto it. Now the green pressing forward. Numbers streaming back for Reading. Castro tried to flip it for Simi. Topolsky mishandled it a bit. Fake. The newcomer off the bench. Good recovery from Simeon. And it is Jalen Orr, the one who left for Faye. Looks like Faye is playing more centrally alongside Hershey up top, and Topolsky's moved more to this left-hand side of the midfield. McLaughlin gets it away. Hershey and Ndie battling. Ndie and Zenge, the two who have been booked in this game, both green veterans.
Yeah, just something to be mindful, too, as it kind of goes on, because it's going to get a little bit sketchier as it goes on, especially towards that 70th, 80th minute. Like, they're both going to start throwing themselves in a little bit harder. They're going to have to be perfect about it.
Topolsky with some trouble under his feet is able to work it back to McDade. DA the first one to it. A deflection for a green throw-in.
But so far, both teams have been kind of limited to playing that long ball. Like, whether it's from the center backs or it's the goalkeeper, nobody's necessarily been able to thread it and control the midfield really well. Other than that, Reading have been able to limit, Vermont from actually playing through the middle at all, or at least controlling.
Bozzini's low ball across, cut out by Timchenko. That was created by Nathan Simeon, bounding through the midfield.
How many corners have we had?
This is the
first. I was just gonna
of the Knights.
And this is something that we've seen Green have a lot of threatening success from corners.
Sam Layton comes to mind. Reed Fisher pops to the front of your mind. There's 2 changes coming for the Green. Will they make them now?
I want to see that forward run from Fisher and then Layton take the space right behind him.
There's the big bad Reed Fisher. Reading, who have performed so well defensively. Can they defend the Green at their most dangerous, which has often been from these corners? It's Lockerman with his left foot to take. Kieran Brown standing in net with Ibra marking him. Deep to the back post.
It's not a bad ball.
Well defended by Reading. And now the Green will make their changes. Jacob Leibovitz, and his 7 goals on the year, has been a star off the bench. And Daniel Pacella, the longtime Green man, shares captain duties with Musa Ndiaye. Sam Layton and Mo Ibra will be the 2 to exit. So Leibovitz, who plays centrally alongside Bozzini for Ibra, and Pacella, a like-for-like change with Layton.
So essentially having 2 kind of central strikers, almost 2 number 9s, just playing kind of right there at the tip of the spear. You got Bozzini right above him, but then he's going to try to kind of be creator a little bit, but also he's got a strike on him. So, yeah, I agree with it. And I'm sorry, I missed. Who's Pacella replacing?
Sam Layton.
Sam Layton, gotcha. Yep, like for like.
Like for like, as you said. First touch there for Pacella. Almost a clean turnover for the Green. No foul. Hershey goes to ground. Look, that was the 6'3" Sam Hershey going down against the 5'10" Nick Lockerman. There was contact there. And now Fay and Rodri are toppled over. It's a foul going against Fay.
I think those are fair calls.
Almost a terrible giveaway, though, by Vermont, resulting in that initial chance for Hershey. Seen a lot of Simeon this half. Zangai getting a chance to turn for the first time in a while. He let out a cry. Says he got caught from behind. There's nothing in it. McLaughlin marching forward. Leibovitz and Rodri pinch it from him. But now Leibovitz under pressure. Shrugs off a defender. Jacob Leibovitz on the march.
Just waiting for the support. There it is from Simeon.
Simeon, that's a deep cross. McLaughlin heads it up in the air. And then Timchenko able to nod it out of pressure.
Unfortunate bounce, but Pacella might be able to recover it.
This is getting chaotic through the midfield.
Yeah, this is starting to get last-ditch tackles here, but...
Touch of class from Rodri. Now he's brought to the ground without a whistle. It has opened up all of a sudden.
Now all of a sudden got fiery.
Modou Faye with Hershey making that diagonal run. Great read from Musa Ndiaye.
And you could see the reaction from... Ooh.
That's a nasty one. Look at Gabe Threadgold. He's unhappy with the challenge there from the youngster Joe McDade. Zach Zenge got crunched. I think that's going to be a yellow for McDade.
We'll see.
I would think it's stopping an attack, right?
That's the yellow in my book. And it looks like,
that's a fair yellow.
Yeah, it's a fair yellow.
I haven't taken issue with any of the referees' decisions to book a player yet.
It's a very, very high boot.
Pessimistic for sure.
Absolutely.
This is Joe McDade that Central referee is showing the yellow card to. Musa Ndia is still asking one of the assistants if that should be something more. Do you think that had a chance at a red, Matt?
At the highest level, Brian, yes.
Well, we're playing at the USL2 level.
If your boot is that high and you crunch onto the knee of somebody, it's reckless, and it's almost 9 times out of 10 a red card.
But it's a yellow
You can
tonight.
see Coach Adam
Coach Pfeiffer
saying the same thing, making the same case.
Yep.
The only thing that I'll say as a counter argument is that he didn't come in with like a straight leg. So it was kind of bent, but that's getting kind of way into the weeds of the details of how it happened.
First booking of the night for Reading United. I'll say this. There's a bit of spice to this one all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, like you said, like you have to. It's a must win.
Must win.
That's it. Like you lose, you go home. So now everyone's got a little bit more energy to their game. They played out the first half. It came to a 0-0. It was kind of measured the whole time.
The ball by Castro was met in the air by Bazzini, but not solidly. Goal kick.
So, yes, you're going to start seeing tackles like that happen where you know, maybe in the first half or maybe just a regular league match, you kind of pull back 5-10%. But at this point, you're trying to win every ball. You're trying to win every tackle. And you're just going to kind of go in at 100% no matter what.
Where will the next big moment come from? Reading and Vermont battling to a good one in this playoff opener. Jackson Castro. He's got Leibovitz. Leibovitz ball towards Bazzini. Big punch from Brown. He was able to meet it in the air over the star green striker.
Yeah, really good goalkeeping because Bazzini was right there, and you got to get that absolutely right. Otherwise, he potentially gets the foul on Bazzini.
Most dangerous chance in a while for the green. And now Bazzini has a step. Flag goes up.
And he doesn't agree.
Here's a look at the play from Brown. Meets it well.
But again, Castro being, you know, one of the most dangerous outlets within this second half now. He was one of the most dangerous in the first, and for whatever reason, that kind of stifled off in the last 15 minutes of that first half. I would say just keep getting the ball to him because right now it just seems like he's got it locked in.
Fact. Pachella surrounded and he loses it. John McDade unable to connect to the wide area of Nardi.
And Reading doing a really good job of just making it absolute hell to just try to play out of the middle. Vermont still, you know, just forced to try to play it either long, but otherwise everyone's just been playing really well, like within that center again.
It was a missed touch from Zenge. Fisher steps well, and there's space for Nathan Simeon. The green surging forward. Simeon's ball to the back post. It's Leibovitz off the bar. Brown down to his right, keeps it out. Leibovitz from point-blank range.
Foolish foul. There's no need for that foul, Brian. It's going out of bounds. You've got to throw in, okay, you didn't get it, but looking at this replay, so close.
Outside of the post. It is a free kick for Reading.
So unfortunate. He has to bury that. That's the best chance of the game so far.
How about the ball from Simeon?
Right? It got a little lucky to get through that many, but that's what you want to see.
The green inching closer. Can they find the go-ahead goal, or will it be Reading? Right now, if they were to break the ice, it would be against the run of play, but a dangerous team. They led their division in goals scored on the season. And they have won a series of must-win games to get into the playoffs. The winner to the round of 32. Reading with some major USL 2 experience. 2 times the national runners-up in back-to-back years, 2018 and 2019. The Green in their second playoff trip in 3 years. They made a magical run in their inaugural season, upsetting the top overall seed. On a rainy night in Burlington, Vermont. Drama mounting. Nicely done, Lockerman.
And outside of that, it was immediate pressure. Like, he couldn't play it necessarily to any of like his 2 deep line playmakers within the center of the field, so he has to play it out wide. And it took like, a brilliant touch just to get away from that pressure. But outside of that, there's nothing to play in the middle.
Pacella tried to touch it into the path of Zenge.
Awkward bounce here.
Hershey.
Well done from Fisher.
Hershey providing the one-man pressure, and now Topolsky. He still has the best chance of the night for Reading. It came on a good block from Nick Lockerman. Bazzini, the vulture.
Yeah.
The vulture.
I was going to say. Really close there, playing with fire.
McDade tried to play it long, looking, I think, for Nardi. Again, Pacella gets it back in the center of the pitch.
That I love. Pacella checking in, an unfortunate touch from Zengi there, but Pacella checking in, receiving it on the half turn, plays the ball in pretty much one time. Need more of that.
Eamon McLaughlin trying to pull away from Castro. And McLaughlin does get the cross to the back posts. Goes over everybody. Topolsky able to retrieve. The cutback comes from Gardner, but it's taken back by the Green. And it's well done to win it back by Nardi. Zenge went down, no call.
And I think that might be a sub we'll potentially see. Just, he's been trying. It's not for a lack of effort or anything. It's just he hasn't found a lot of success in this match, Zengi. And I think, just kind of, there's nothing against it. It's just basically, all right, let's try something new. Let's get some fresh legs on that right side.
My immediate thought is Gabe Threadgold's.
Exactly.
We'll see if that is the decision or not.
That would be a nightmare to try to mark after playing 80 minutes.
Yep. Those blazing speed that Threadgold possesses. Pacella has been all over the ball since entering. Lockerman down the line, Castro. They'll press on the acceleration. Doesn't have the drop there. It's too short for Rodri. But Nardi loses it out of play. The Green for the throw. Fay. Nice touch by Nardi. Here comes Reading. The pass behind Fay, and that stops a bit of the break. Wide for Topolsky. Joe McDade. And the captain, Timchenko, swings it towards Hershey. Well taken off the chest.
It's really well done.
McLaughlin. Topolsky, McLaughlin. Now Nardi. Reading finding a tight pocket where they can play through. Topolsky over the top. McLaughlin gets there first, drives it across. Wickham loses it. It's loose in the 6, and it's cleared away by Fisher. That went through the wickets of Wickham. He stays down. Hershey was there and just couldn't pound it home.
Really well played. I mean, a sequence of 10 passes. They came from the left side, found the switch out. I think it started with Hershey with the chest trap and then switched it out. And, I mean, great goalkeeping from Wickham. Throws his body on the line for that, but
Well, it was a mistake by Wickham that forced that to happen. Now he's holding his right wrist. Hershey lunging for the ball. Must have caught him on the way through.
I think he's going to be okay, though.
Another look. That's one Wickham has to handle better. Oh, you can see Hershey does kind of land on Wickham's wrist.
Definitely hurts a little bit, but goalkeepers are a bird of different flight.
The Green are asking for a booking. Instead, it's out for a throw-in for Reading. And the header by Hershey was met by the Green defense.
They need to stay focused at this point, too. I understand that they might have thought there was a foul, but no time to rest on that.
Second ball out on the pitch. Gardner turns by Zengek.
Little too cheeky.
Going to be a Green throw for Simeon. Cavalier and Timchenko, the center backs of Reading, have combined to shut the Green out for 82 minutes. That's Ndie. Wins the goal kick.
Any other player might have thought you probably should have just played that out, but with Ndie, you never guess it.
Nick Lockerman trying to go over the top, but Cavalier wins it first. Gardner lassos it. This pass does stay in play, actually, and Nardi on the front foot, looking over the top for Hershey.
Seems like it's just been like a characteristic of the whole match is this ball just keeps bobbling, like it never settles. It's not sticking to anybody's foot. Seeing it played long, often from the goalkeepers. Nobody's really winning the second balls. Reading, I think, actually have done a better job overall from like winning those balls that have been coming from Wickham. They're positioning themselves really well for it, but they're not really creating a ton of threat outside of that last, almost immediate chance. But
Hershey has Ndie on his back now. Lockerman's there to help him out, forces him outside the penalty area. And Fisher deals with the McLaughlin cross and heads it perfectly for Castro to try to break. But it's United who beat Leibovitz to it. The ball forward for Hershey. He lays it out wide, and that ball to the near post. Fisher cuts it out, and Ndie sweeps it clear for now. Cavalier recycles. Wickham stays home, and Simeon gets the big touch before Fay. Reading looking more dangerous all of a sudden. Pacello in the block.
Turned it up now.
Topolsky. And Green doing some last-ditch defending. McDade sends one towards Fay, and Ndie is able to meet it. Now Leibovitz has a chance to break. Bazzini asking for the through ball, and Brown comes out and plays it beautifully.
Yeah, you must have seen Leibovitz pick his head up and seen the run from Bazzini because he came off his line real fast.
And Reading were actually offsides on the ball back forward by Brown. Almost there on the break for the Green. Bazzini was through. It's well read by Kieran Brown. Five minutes plus stoppage time remaining in regulation. We are expecting two 15-minute sequences with penalty kicks if needed to follow, should nobody score before the end of this.
Right.
Here's Mo Dufay, the 23-year-old from Bethany College. Topolsky has some room. Topolsky the shot. Wickham punches it away. Hershey sprays it wide. Wickham has his big-time save with the left paw.
And I think we can safely say the momentum has started to shift now towards Reading. They're starting to make an actual case for the threat. It's a couple different really, really good chances, good shots on goal.
It is the green holding on all of a sudden as we near the finish to 90 minutes. Leibovitz and Bazzini trying to work the two-man game in the break. Castro's on sides from Lockerman. Early ball, flicked on Leibovitz. Space for Zenge. Zach Zenge. Bazzini. Timchenko out of play. It's a green corner.
Unselfish from Bazzini, though, there.
Tried to feed it back for Leibovitz.
Exactly, instead of going for goal, which I don't know if he would have gotten enough power for it.
Timchenko read it well. The Ukrainian captain for Reading United FC now with more work to do. It's Jackson Castro who has been awfully bright tonight to take this. A high floating ball towards Fisher. Really well defended by Hershey, actually, and a foul called against Reed Fisher.
And that right there that lets Reading off the hook because it's an awkward bounce. Again, limited options. Even if Reading retain the ball, they're going to have to go long.
More green changes are coming, Matt. Gabe Threadgold, Ryan Combe. I know it's a little late for your liking.
It's a little late for my liking, but
you do have two
I will take it.
15-minute periods plus extra time. I'm
right. I understand.
This is perhaps if it's Garrett Southgate putting Cole Palmer in, you've got time for extra time.
That's true. You only needed Ollie Watkins for, 90 seconds?
You got that. Threadgold with the burners. Combe is a bit more technical. Neither are big players physically, but could provide something. It's Combe and Castro to lead. So now the attacking group with Bazzini the leading score. Leibovitz, Threadgold, and Combe will sit underneath him. Given plenty of room, Topolsky will advance. They played this thing short. Nobody's there. Threadgold was allowed to retrieve it. I haven't seen that one in a while.
They didn't look at their wrist and see the audibles and the plays? Guess not.
Didn't look at the right indicator on the baseball side?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rodri. And Simeon takes a big shove from Topolsky. An easy call for the center ref. Green want to play this thing quickly. They still sense time left in regulation. Almost picked off from Pacella by Gardner. Fisher read the play, looked for Threadgold. Out for a green throw-in. I'm excited to see Threadgold and Simeon combine down this right-hand side.
Yeah, limited time, but if we can possibly see them connect a little bit, there might be something in it. We're hearing 4 minutes of extra time.
Confirmed. 4 minutes of stoppage time. Fisher's able to pump it forward towards Bazzini. Couldn't keep it at his feet, but gets it back from Pacella. Bazzini cutting inward. Pacella maintains possession. Good first touch, Lockerman. Now here comes Combe. Ryan Combe. First time ball with the left. Well defended and deflected. And Fay out of danger.
It seems like Reading players are always at the right place at the right time. Even
Combe.
on like the deflections.
Combe outside of the football that took a deflection into the arms of Brown. Might have had Pacella on the edge of the area, tried to cross it instead. Nervy moments. Straight nervous moments. We're beyond nervy now. Kieran Brown, who's made a couple of big saves tonight, has been matched on the other side by Jaheim Wickham. One of the best Reading defensive performances of the year. Rodri stampeding through the midfield. Now
Really
here's
well done.
Threadgold in some space. Threadgold to the near post. He was looking for Leibovitz's run. Well defended by Cavalier. And now Rodri's found some room. Rodri.
And you can see their intention. They see Leibovitz and they see Bazzini in the center of the box. They're consistently always there, anticipating that cross now. Just need a little bit more clinical technique on that cross.
It is not yet confirmed who these two teams would play next. Whoever wins depends on other results. We don't even know where potentially Seacoast United would be. It is somewhere in the East Conference region. Depending what divisions win these play-in matchups, that will decide where either Reading United or Vermont Green FC would go or play next. Ryan Combe squares it for Rodri. Behind him, it's fortunate for Simi. Nathan Simeon connects with Gabe Threadgold. Here's Threadgold. Topolsky defending. Threadgold to the near post. Simeon arriving. Picks it up. It's Simeon with his right foot to the near post, and Bazzini's done it! Yanni Bazzini stuns Reading United. It's the Green leading late.
I'm speechless. I was trying to think of something to say, but I can't believe it, and what a man to do it. It seemed like that play was about to die. At any point, it seemed like right there in the corner, I thought the cross was a little too short. I didn't think it was going to go through.
The ball from Simeon. The touch from who else?
And the little flick on from Bazzini.
He's a genius. 12th goal
The man
of the year.
exudes class. He exudes class.
What a goal.
What a guy.
What a scorer. Vermont Green FC 1, Reading United nothing.
At the death, Brian.
Look at this angle.
What a goal.
It's art.
Speaking of art, I know we have a lot of artists that follow this club within this community. We want to see the best that you can produce so that we can hang a plaque of this man within UVM and anywhere within any establishment.
Oh, Leibovitz wanted in on the party. Bazzini the goal, Simeon the assist, his first assist in a green uniform. Well, I thought we were destined for 15 minutes and then 15 more. Reading United still at the last gasp in their lungs, but it's the green golden man, Yaniv Bazzini, at the moment who's got the winner.
Yeah, it's not over yet. I think there might be like another minute left.
Give or take, Combe out of danger. Look at Gabe Threadgold put the pressure on Brown.
There you go.
Brown out
Get
of his
this ball
net.
back.
Leibovitz has runners. Combe was dragged back there. No whistle came.
Threadgold, you just came on. Start running.
I mean, Combe was grabbed on the back of his jersey there. He was the runner.
Right.
No whistle yet, though. Pumped into the air towards Gardner.
Good win from Combe.
It's Vermont Green FC with a 1-0 win.
That's playoff soccer, Brian. That's playoff soccer right there. Almost scripted, but that is playoff soccer.
A playoff win in front of their home fans. Of course it's Bazzini. And oh boy,
And it looks like something's going on with Adam. It might have been a tackle that I had missed. I'm sorry. I was a little distracted.
Jaheim Wickham's in the mess. But it is Vermont Green FC moving on regardless of what goes down post-game.
What a story for this club. Within 3 seasons, going past the first round, it takes time to build a team that can, actually compete within these divisions and actually, more or less make it past the first round of the playoffs. Even last season, what was it? It was almost record points in the second season and still didn't make it. That's kind of the level that you if you hear that, you understand, like, it takes so much to actually make it further into the playoffs. And then once you kind of make it past that first round, you build up a head of steam and you start actually believing a lot more. Players believe in their passes, their shots, their tackles. They just it gives them a higher percentage.
Reed Fisher leads the contingent to celebrate in front of these fans who brought it tonight. Look at Pizzini celebrate with them in the pouring rain for much of the 90 minutes.
And as much as he deserves probably man of the match for scoring that last minute, one of the last minute headers, I got to give a ton of credit to NDA and Fisher. I thought either one of them, I will take a poll to decide who. I think NDA, in my opinion, had the edge to be man of the match because everything that came his way, he won. Not to say that Fisher didn't, but it just seemed like NDA was just absolutely everywhere. He was immense.
Look what it means. It's an emotional night, Matt.
And a huge shout out to all the fans that stayed. We understood that, the weather wasn't going to be ideal. You were going to be a little bit wet watching this one, but we're all Vermonters. We all kind of understand that this is kind of par for the course, more or less, especially once you start getting into, mid-July. We're going to have some summer storms. They all still showed up. It's pretty much a packed house again.
Another look at this Simeon Cross. He deserves so much credit as well. I thought his second half was remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. He stepped it up.
I can't believe that finish. Oh, my gosh.
Just cultured.
Nothing that Kieran Brown could do, who had an outstanding night in net.
And really good subs. I understood that, I had criticism that I thought it was a little too late, but that was Threadgold who created that threat initially down in that right corner. And then all of a sudden, Simeon understood that. He came and supported. He received that bobble, the second ball from it, and then that cross there. And then Bazzini just understanding. I have no idea how he read that it was going to be near post. Maybe he saw that, Simeon wasn't faced towards that, to across the field, so it wasn't going to be a huge cross. He's like, he's only going to be able to get this much on it, so I'll run near post, and I'll try to flick this on, and maybe Leibovitz will get it, whatever. However he thought about it, it worked.
Well, we don't know who Vermont Green will play next. I can tell you that the next games in the playoff round are scheduled for July 19th. So it's a quick turnaround. That is Friday, July 19th. That is when the next matches are scheduled. Teams that they could play, the Ocean City Nor'easters, who were the team that finished ahead of Reading United AC. They could play Salem City FC or Lionsbridge FC or one of the other teams that won a knockout round game. So we don't know the opponent. We know the date, July 19th. We don't know the venue. We will keep you updated, I'm sure, when we find out more. Matt, we've had a lot to say. Any final thoughts from a stunning, thrilling, emotional, and electric Green win?
I think we've analyzed the match throughout the 90 minutes as much as we possibly can. I think the only thing that I would add is the absolute grind of this match. It's a playoff match. It was pretty evenly contested. There was ebbs and flows to it. We saw Reading kind of get real threatening there somewhere around like the 70th to like the 80th, maybe like 80, fifth minute.
Yeah.
And it almost looked like, oh no, like Vermont didn't finish the chances that they had created in the first half and the second half. Is this going to be kind of one of those things where you rue the chances that you miss? that's a grind, man. To get down to the 93rd minute and score that, that heading goal, just Bazzini believing that ball is going to come and running to it, that shows a lot of belief. That shows a lot of heart. And that's something I think I've got a lot of confidence carrying into the second round.
Yaniv Bazzini's goal, the difference. He does it again, and Vermont Green FC are moving on. 1-0 the final. For Matt Montel, I'm Brian McLaughlin. Our entire outstanding production crew were great again, braving the elements with us tonight. We may talk to you again, we may not. If not for this season, thank you to everybody who's tuned in and supported us all year long. If we do talk to you again, I cannot wait. Vermont Green FC, 1-0 victorious over Reading United.